friend. Happy Monday. Oh my gosh, can you believe it's already Monday? So why the heck am I live? It's so good to see you. Welcome to Networking Know-How. Normally, I go live on Wednesday afternoons, but you're getting a special edition of Networking Know-How, which is our weekly live training to help you network more stress-free like we do in our Down and Dirty Networking online community. Now, before I jump into too many things, let me just at least introduce myself. If we have not yet connected, or this is your first time tuning in, I'm Laura Morlando, the Stress Commando, and I am the founder and CEO of Down and Dirty Networking. Now, the reason we've got a special edition is we've got something really exciting happening this Wednesday. So put hashtag sneak peek in a direct message or put it in the comments, and you will get the link to register for our virtual sneak peek event happening this Wednesday. So if you want to learn more, stay tuned, but even stay tuned for this special guest. We have A.S.K with Activisory here that I will be interviewing, and she's going to be talking about what's the ask. Now, this is going to be really powerful for you as a networker to make sure that you are getting a return on your investment of time and money and energy when you're networking. So we're going to dive into that. That's going to be the conversation that Ann and I are going to have. So stay tuned for that. Now, I will explain why we're going live a little bit bonus today, but it's kind of in keeping with the sneak peek. I wanted to bring some special guests so that you guys can meet some of the inner workings of the Down and Dirty Networking online community. So we've got Ann today, and this is going to be a great training. Now, before we dig into the training, if you're watching live or on replay, say hi in chat. Let me know where you're watching from. It's always awesome to be able to connect with people from all over the globe. It's one of the things I love about what I do. So make sure to interact with us in chat because it makes it much more fun and meaningful. And here at Down and Dirty Networking, we are all about things being meaningful. All right, so let's dig into today's training. So if you're watching live or on replay, let me know if this applies to you. Have you ever attended a networking meeting or an event and you left feeling like you wasted your time or wondered what's in it for you to engage in networking? Let me know in the chat if you've ever felt this way, if you've ever felt networking doesn't work for you, or you felt like you've wasted your time. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. If you've ever felt this way, let me just kind of spoiler alert it for you. You're not alone. I felt exactly that way myself. It's one of the things that I know Ann and I are going to be talking about. So today we're going to be talking about how you get this return on the investment, but what's the ask? Right. And so ask is actually an acronym. So we're going to dive deep into that and how this can really help you maximize and skyrocket your effectiveness networking and really impact the return of your investment. And dare I say, have you like networking once and for all? So let's kind of get into that. So before we bring Ann up, I do want to define the difference between the two types of networking we're going to be talking about. So typically, the default understanding for networking or traditional networking, sometimes known as transactional networking, so traditional or transactional networking, is to exchange leads, referrals, sales, and job offers. However, I have learned there's another type of networking that I call relational networking, where you're focused on having meaningful conversations to build authentic and lasting relationships. And today, one of the best relationships that I have is with A.S.K. She is the CEO of Activisory, and she's an accountant extraordinaire. She's one of our Down and Dirty Networking members and a longtime friend. And I'm so grateful that I met her networking. Had I not networked, we would not be in each other's lives. And I can't even imagine that right now. So I'm super grateful. Now, before I bring her up, I wanted to share a little bit about how I got to know Ann. Ann and I had a mutual acquaintance, Charles, whom I met networking. Now, I'll let Ann tell the rest of the story, but the key here is that my relationship with Charles and his relationship with Ann is what created the connection that Ann and I have today. We've known each other for several years, and we're clients of each other, and I consider her a trusted friend. Now, before I bring her up, please make sure to put your questions, gratitude, and commentary in the comments. And it doesn't matter whether you're chiming in on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, and whether you're doing this live or on replay, we will respond to all comments. So make sure to go ahead and chime in. All right, so let's go ahead and bring Anne up to the stage. Hey, Anne.
Hi, how are
So
you?
glad you are here with us today. And I am
I'm
so
so glad to be
grateful.
here.
Yes, and I am so grateful that you are in my life, and I don't say that lightly. It's been such a blessing getting to know you all these years. And so you heard me kind of say at the beginning a little bit about how we met. What else would you like to share, or how would you like to finish that story?
Um, I too share the same sentiments that I'm so glad that we met, even though at the time I thought we met by chance, but it was actually a year delay. It was meant to happen. Sometimes the universe gives you exactly what you need. And so I did hear you say about our mutual acquaintance, Charles, that my relationship with him, and at that time, he too was my client. And so we had kind of like a bartering agreement, but he wanted to acknowledge how much he appreciated me helping him in his business when he first started of doing the bookkeeping for him. So he gifted me Laura. So with Laura being the stress commando, he connected with Laura and scheduled me to have a surprise massage at the office. And so when she came, and I didn't put the two together until the end. And when she gave me her business card and I recognized the name and the number, she will tell you I flipped immediately to my contact list back in the day. That tells you how long Laura and I have been friends. That was when we had paper planners and the big old binder planner, right? Everything now is electronic, but back then we had the planner. And so the section of the planner was the contacts, and I went straight to M from Orlando and showed her that I had her in my contacts and that I knew with her coming to my office, I needed to connect with her. And at that point, we connected, networking. I joined another organization that she and I both are a part of. And we have been networking, building a friendship over the years. And here we are today,
I
still
love it.
networking and friends.
I love it. I'm so grateful. And it tells you how long it's been because back when I first started as the stress commando, one of the things I did do was spa sessions brought to you. And so that's
Mhm.
one of the things that I got to deliver to you. And so it's just so interesting that, I'm not in a place where I do that anymore. I've had to transition to being in home. And yet our relationship was strong enough to handle all of that. And that really just speaks to the power of relationships. When things are meaningful, they will
Mhm.
last and evolve through the seasons of your life. And in
Yes,
fact, I
very true.
rely on them. Starting down and dirty networking, I don't know the numbers and bookkeeping and accounting things, but I know you do. And I know you make it simple and fun. Fabulous.
Yep,
I need that. Laura Bath needs the assistant. So fantastic. Let's have a conversation. So
yep.
it's always great to know you've got that trusted person. And that's where kind of the traditional transactional somewhat leans into. But your unfair advantage, and I've heard this time and time again. My mastermind coach says the unfair advantage is really the strength of your relationships. And I absolutely believe that. And I think that's why our relationship has um, evolved with all of the seasons of your business, my business, and how we've transacted. So we both started in the kind of the traditional transactional networking space. Is that correct? Is that where you
Yes,
started?
yep.
So why don't you share a little bit about what your experience was with that traditional transactional networking before we move into what we're doing now?
My experience with the traditional networking, having to come up with a 30-second elevator pitch. Um, Doing the 30-second elevator pitch, though, you really don't learn the person. You learn what they do or what they sell, but you don't know the person as the human being. And so that's the unfortunate part of a traditional networking because You only really have 30 seconds to let a complete stranger that you met learn a little bit about you, but really not you as a person. It's what you do or what you sell product wise to them. And that's it. Then you're moving on to the next 30-second pitch. Either you're giving or you're listening.
Yeah, it's kind of like that speed dating and networking.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is
Yeah.
next. Hi, my name is next. You're just kind of moving through the motions, whether you're doing it in person or online. And I think there's a place where traditional networking makes sense. It
Hmm.
was very valuable to kickstart my business. And I think there's a place for it. But I feel like for some people, at least for me, as an introvert, as someone who prefers deeper connections, when I was in that transactional space that I was doing what I was told, that's what networking was all about. And I was told that even when I was in corporate, that's where I first started the whole networking experience. I was just following along. I was that person. So I owe tons of apologies. I was the shameless, let me buy my stuff person. Every 2 seconds you're talking to me. Let me just tell you my 30 second. That was me. I just, I can't believe I did that. And so here's the thing. I followed the instructions of what I was being told, but the whole time that I'm following it, it
Yeah.
just wore me out. And like
Yeah.
you, just having to remember what to say, feeling awkward, not just not. It just was so in misalignment from who
Hmm.
I am. I
Hmm.
did it because I was being told to do it. I had
Hmm.
success at it, but it didn't feel right for me, and it wasn't what I wanted to do. And so that's when I started realizing, when people were saying it was the relationships, so even within the traditional space, I started leaning in more to adjusting the networking mindset. And then I became kind of a trainer of networking and have evolved into this relational networking method. And so, which is what we're talking about now. So for you, Anne, as we've moved and I gave the definition, of the traditional and now moving into relational, what's been the biggest difference, the biggest benefit for you, since, we're talking about return on investment, from moving from traditional into more of the relational networking?
Moving from traditional to relational for me starts with the first letter of ask, and that is A for accountability. Um, Me being an only child, don't have any sisters and brothers, and throughout my career, I wanted someone else outside of my coworkers, outside of the organization, to hold me accountable. And being in the down and dirty networking community, I have accountability partners. Different members within the community holds me accountable. Every week, we make a goal where we're sharing within the community the things that we're going to work on this week. So then by the end of the week, I have actually given the other members of the community the opportunity to check on me, to follow up with me, to hold me accountable. And you said on Monday earlier this week you were going to do XYZ. Did you accomplish XYZ, or did you have any challenges that we may can help you with?
That's awesome. So I love that you love acronyms, because I do as well. So, and that you came up with this one, it works. So from accountability, let me ask the obvious question. So because I hear this a lot. I said this, I yeah butted this when I first heard relationships. So I'm gonna play my own devil's advocate. The voice that was in my head was, okay, but I need to make sales. I need clients. I'm in sales. This is what I need to do. So when you are being held accountable, is that raising your income and revenue, even though you're not transacting business, or was transacting business raising your revenue?
Being held accountable actually raised my revenue and sales, because there were certain things that I posted in the community of here was some goals that I was going to do, which one of them was having discovery calls, right?
Mm.
Which was going to generate sales. So at the end of the week, members was asking me, well, how many discovery calls did you make? Well, when you get tired of posting, this is a goal you're going to do, and having people ask you by the second or third week, it's like, okay, I need to make some discovery calls because Laura's going to ask me. And this is the third week you've posted the same thing. Have you done it? You tend to play in your head. Oh, I don't want Laura to be asking me. Oh, I don't want so and so in the community to be asking me, did I do something? And it kind of gives you the motivation to go ahead and do it so that you can give an update or give a different answer that, yeah, this week I actually did do what I said I was going to do.
That's awesome. No, I definitely appreciate that. I found that to be true, and that's what I wanted to
Hmm.
have inside the community. I actually made more money when I stopped asking for the sale.
Hmm. Hmm.
When I
Yep.
leaned in, the accountability is also making sure you're holding yourself accountable to self. And when you are a person of integrity to self, that's where
Yes.
confidence comes.
Yes.
And I know earlier we were talking a little bit about this. There's a little bit of a tangent, but everyone seems to be struggling with overwhelm, and they seem to be
Mm.
struggling with maybe fighting back against imposter syndrome, whether they're an entrepreneur, an employee, doesn't matter what their career is. There seems to be a lot of that going around right now. And so, what would be for you, Anne, the second biggest benefit of the return on investment in the down and dirty networking community?
The second acronym, which is S for support, the community gives me so much support. When you think, one, I'm the only one dealing with so and so, so and so. And then we have events, and at the events, we tend to share. And so when you're able to share that, hey, this is what I'm going through, can anyone relate? And other people are like, yep, been there, done that, got a t-shirt for it. Yep, just got through dealing with that 2 months ago. And then you're like, oh my goodness, I'm not the only one that has dealt with that. Or even if you choose not to share and because you didn't have your turn yet to share, and then you hear other people sharing, then you're able to be like, oh, I can help them with that. I experienced the same thing. So it's not only you receiving support, but you're able to give the support to other members within the community. And that by far is one of the perfect things that I love about the down and dirty networking community, that it's a two-way street. I'm able to receive the support when I'm dealing with a challenge, as well as I'm able to give support when another member is dealing with a challenge.
I love this answer, and I'm so glad you brought up the two-way street. That's the difference for me between relational networking and traditional
Mhm.
networking. Traditional networking is one way, 30-second, 30-second, buy my stuff, buy
Mhm.
my stuff, buy my stuff, promote me, give me a job, give me a job. It's that one way, almost schmoozing kind of thing. And so when you're talking about a two-way conversation, sometimes the advice you give, the fact that you had impact in someone else's life, is the thing you didn't know you needed.
So true.
Would you
So true.
agree?
So true. So true.
You know,
Yeah.
and I always believe that we want to raise our vibrational energy with
Mm.
every event that we have with Down and Dirty Networking. That's my own personal. I want to always raise everyone's vibrational energy, but as a community, that's really something we strive to do at every event, every interaction. Let's raise vibrational energy. And so that support, that co-elevation of vibrational energy as it were, can absolutely translate into so much more for you. So, how has the vibrational energy that has increased, or your ability to know you mattered, like your answer to that person, like totally solved their problem, was totally the professional easy button that they were needing to know? How does that make you feel?
Excuse me. It
Excuse me.
hands down. It is so touching. And Laura's right. At every event, every time we leave, every member has always provided the feedback that we have left better than when we came. And sometimes it's not like that our vibrational energy is at a one. Half of the time it is already at an 8 or 9. So considering that we could already be at an 8, and then we leave and now we're even higher than we was when we came, hands down, you can't even put a price along with that. And then to just walk away knowing I helped so and so with their challenge. And even if they didn't have a challenge, just to confirm for them, no, this is not uncommon, or no, you are not crazy dealing with whatever it is you're dealing with, or the question that you have is not a silly question. And so to be able to support another member in that way, to acknowledge that no, they're not crazy, then it's just priceless.
I totally agree. And for those that have never really heard the term vibrational energy, let me back up a little bit. I have learned in my health journey that there's two types of energies that you can, I mean, there's a lot of energies, but there's a difference between vibrational energy and physical energy. My physical energy, I could have extreme fatigue and be at a one, which I struggle with that and I experience fatigue often, but I can always have a high vibrational energy despite the low physical. Now, I won't lie. When my physical energy is low and the pain is high, like it is today, it's really hard to not let the vibrational energy do one of these numbers. So for me, I find it to what you're talking about is so important. When I can have impact on somebody else, here's what happens to the vibrational energy of me. And that's great. That's what will fuel me back up to overcome and to persevere through whatever else I might be experiencing physically or what other obstacles might be placed in my day that we all face. Right. And I mean, we were talking about that. It was that overwhelm that everybody's on, or feel like you're the only one going through things. When you talked about that with accountability, I call that being on the island of alone, feeling like you're all alone, the only one dealing with something, you're the only one experiencing it, and you're the only one that can do the task and figure it out. You're not. It may be new to you. This might be the first time you're experiencing this. But I assure you, there's probably somebody else that has a perspective that's going to be a breath of fresh air and be an easy button for you. And it's so interesting to me. And if you are sitting there and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm on that island of alone. Okay, you're not even on that island by yourself. I want to tell you that. Over 58% of Americans, according to Harvard Business Review, over 58% of Americans classify themselves as lonely. Loneliness is actually an epidemic, and it's costing businesses $154 billion with a B every year because employees do not feel like they belong. They don't feel like connection. They're feeling on that island of alone. And so this community was founded because I was on the island of alone after a health diagnosis. So I understand what that isolation feels like. I recognize how completely debilitating that can feel, and how much when you start listening to the voices in your head that you're the only one, you really believe it. And it starts to erode on your hope and your hopelessness. So, and for you, kind of, we've got accountability and support. What would be that third one for you, and why is that one so important in being able to propel you forward? What's that third K for you?
The K for me is knowing how to, I mean, the networking know how special edition that we're doing, knowing how to have relational networking, how to do relational networking. I didn't know what that looked like. To be honest with you, I actually thought a verge of traditional was actually relational networking, because if someone trusted me enough to buy my services or buy the product, then, one thought process is, well, they wouldn't buy from me if we didn't have a relationship. But that's not relational networking, though. I actually learned, because I have now been a member 2 years. My, that goes by fast. Really,
It
two and a
does.
half in June.
Yeah. Yeah.
So learning over the last couple of years truly what relational networking is has been a game changer for me. And it's tying to the vibrational energy. And so you may ask, well, how are the two connected, Anne? Great, I will tell you. So the vibrational energy is so amazing that once you understand what it really is, when you can talk to someone and feel good as if you are intoxicated, that tells you that vibrational energy is really up here. Well, at that point, when you constantly have conversations with that person and have that version of intoxication that, you just get excited whenever you talk to that person and you two are have the synergy, pretty much what Laura and I are demonstrating here, to where your friendship develops and you're friends for several years. That, my friends, is relational networking, is how it started. And so to really know and understand what relational networking is has truly been more of a rate of return than the A and the S, the accountability and the support. I mean, to just know what that looks like and what that feels like, I don't even want to go back to traditional networking anymore.
I love hearing that. That makes me so happy. And you detailed it, absolutely correctly. It it's such a different way. And like you, I did relationship, in the traditional sense. So I feel like there's traditional transactional networking, there's relational networking, and there might be a hybrid in the traditional space
Mhm.
where you're relationship
Mhm.
focused, but your goal is still transacting a business, a lead, a
Yeah.
sale, job offer. You're still looking
Yeah.
for the transaction. And so if you are watching this and you're thinking, but I really need to be in traditional networking, my advice for you is adopt a relational networking mindset in traditional networking activities. The minute you do that, the minute I did that, things will change for you. The magic will really start to happen. But if you're watching and you're thinking, man, I really love what Anna's saying here. I'm really resonating with everything that she's got to say. And I want to make that shift. And I agree, Laura, I really didn't feel aligned doing traditional networking. Then I'm going to suggest you give relational networking a try. You may think you know what it is, but you don't. And so you really need to experience it. Know many different ways I try to explain it. Until you experience it, you won't really know. But it becomes more, and tell me if this is true for you, Anne. It truly is a, even though there's an activity and we've got the community, isn't it true that it really is a mindset and kind of a way of being versus just
Yes.
something like you have to memorize and do?
Yes, it is truly a mind shift for sure. And then at that point, though, you're almost like halfway into it. Once your mind shifts, that, oh my God, I actually am in relational networking. Because once your mind shifts, then trying to get a sale, trying to offer something becomes less of the focus, and you really will tune in to what the other person you're having a conversation with is saying. And so then your ears shift of figuring out, how can I help this person? It still may be your services or your product could help the person, but that has not been your focal point. Your focal point is paying attention and listening and being really intentional with the person that you're having a conversation with.
Oh, I love that you said that. I love that. You're right. Being intentional with a person. You want to provide value. You want to figure out how you can help them. Um,
Mhm.
that's how people
Mhm.
feel seen, heard, and valued. That's where they can belong. That's where they feel that life raft of alone was just thrown to them on that island of alone. Like, hey, I might be able to get off of that. So I think that's
Mhm.
really, really powerful. So Anne, as we're kind of just, I mean, I could go on and on and on, but as we're wrapping up here, because this is, the kind of the return on the investment, the what's in it for me. Why did you title our episode What's the Ask and create the acronym that you did?
I titled it What's the Ask because a lot of people are still trying to understand what is relational networking. And so we wanted you to ask whoever is listening, even if you're listening live or listening on a replay, because that is where networking is headed. It is headed to relational networking because a lot of people are feeling the absenteeism of connecting with another individual person. And so things are opening back up since we are so many years after COVID. And the impact that COVID has had, a lot of people are revaluing themselves, revaluing what matters, what is important. And part of that reevaluation is people are hungry for connectivity, hungry for connections. So, with Down and Dirty Networking being pretty still a new community, this is the perfect time to hook up with us in the community so you can get connected, as Laura spoke, so you don't feel in the island of alone, and that you can get the accountability, the support, and the know how that you need to in order to grow yourself in the ways that I know you would like to grow
Oh,
through
I love that.
relational networking.
Oh, I love that you tied that so beautifully. And I mean, it's all about asking for the sale in traditional networking. So I love the play on words with the acronym that it's really more about asking a question, asking to get to know somebody. And I
Yeah.
think you're right. I believe networking is a skill, it's an activity and a mindset. And it's that mindset that I've been training on for, oh gosh, I think we're going on 20 plus years now. And
Mhm.
that's the difference maker. And when I was looking for a relational networking community, it didn't exist. So I created
Mhm.
it. And that's what down and dirty
Mhm.
networking is. And here are some stats. And I know you being the account numbers person, you'll appreciate my numbers here. So um, according to the Harvard Business Review, feeling like you belong at work yields a whopping 56% increase in job performance.
Mm.
So
Wow.
even if you're an entrepreneur, or even if you don't feel like you belong at work, but if you can belong either at work, but even in our community, your job performance is going to increase 56%. That's an increase in raises, revenue, you name it. It also yields a 50% drop in turnover risk and a 75% reduction in sick days.
Wow.
Now, they calculated that for a 10,000 person company, this would result in an annual savings of more than $52 million per year. Just belonging at
Wow.
work, just from a professional
Wow.
belonging. So, we are really a lot more. When you're thinking of relational networking, it's truly a movement,
Mm.
right? It's a movement to get people off that island of alone, to feel like they belong, all industries, not only the people that are in sales or only the people that
Mhm.
are entrepreneurs. Our community is diverse. We have academics, we have corporate
Mhm.
professionals, and that's
Mhm.
by design because those 360-degree perspectives really can matter. So, as we're wrapping up, Ann, I mean, what would you say about that 360 perspective? How has having a broader access to a community that's more diverse than just more of something that's a little bit more mainline for people in sales, how has that been beneficial for you?
It has been beneficial because I'm able to get more of an unbiased opinion, because if I just talk to other accountants and be like, oh, what would on this tax season, da 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 da, it would be from the accounting perspective. But if I talk to a non accountant, it's really going to be more from a consumer perspective. So I like the 360-degree perspectives that we have within the community, because I'm not talking to myself. I'm not talking to my own kind of people. So it's like that's just super cool because I can talk to an electrician about his point of view and really get great feedback that I didn't consider because I'm behind the numbers or I'm crunching the numbers. So I love the fact that we have so much diversity from across the globe. People are not just in our area where Laura and I is DFW. It's like from across the globe here, as well as from all of the various backgrounds, from industry, ethnicity, you name it, we have it, which I love it.
Ah, love that. Yeah, diversity is very important to me because like you said, it's that perspective that I
Hmm.
think that diversity of thought expands your opportunities. It just expands it all the way around. It's something I've always embraced. So, and as we're wrapping up, before I send you backstage, what would you like to leave as parting words for our audience watching live and on replay?
Make sure you ask any member in the Down and Dirty networking community how we can better support you in your journey of relational networking.
Oh, so good. So good. And I can't thank you enough for your time and expertise and for being in my orbit in my life. It's such a blessing. I'm going to send you backstage for a second
Okay. All
into the
right.
green room. So hold on just a
Bye.
second. Wasn't she good? Ugh, I love it. I love being able to share some of the most amazing people that are in my sphere of influence with all of you and you getting to learn from them and getting to connect with them because that's what it's about. It's about co-elevate, collaborate, and connect. Those are the three big tenets of down and dirty networking. And I love Anne's acronym of ASK: accountability, support, and knowing about relational networking and what this can all do for you. So I hope that you were taking notes, mental notes, physical notes, and you're ready to apply this. Like I said, I gave you the tip. If you still want to be in traditional networking, adopt a relational networking mindset. And I promise you, you will see your results skyrocket. You will never say that networking didn't work for you. Now, if you are more like Ann and I, and you are curious about relational networking, you're not really in love with the 30-second commercials, and you want to check out, like one of our new guests said this to me just a couple days ago, what they were looking forward to with regards to our sneak peek is they wanted to see if we could truly, if we were cutting the fluff of traditional networking, if we could really do it. Because that's what we say. We are cutting the fluff of traditional networking. So, what that means is there are no sales pitches, there are no 30-second commercials, there are no introductions. We get right into networking, and this is meaningful conversations curated for you. If you are an introvert, I take all of the challenge of figuring out what to say out. I just take it all. I do all the heavy lifting for you. All you got to do is just show up on time. It's a hard start. So if you want to learn more and you want to say, all right, can you really cut the fluff of traditional networking? Is there really another way? I encourage you to put hashtag sneak peek in the comments or drop in a direct message, and I will give you the link so you can learn more about the virtual sneak peek event that is happening this Wednesday at noon Central Standard Time. It's virtual. One of our sneak peeks, we had five different countries represented. So I encourage you to come and check it out and test drive what relational networking can do for you and see what that return on the investment is. Get to know what that accountability support and knowing what relational networking can do for you that Anne talked about. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. If so, give me a thumbs up or tag a friend that could really use this. And again, put hashtag sneak peek in the comments or drop me a direct message with hashtag sneak peek, and I will send you more information. Now, stay tuned for more tips and videos. I am doing another bonus day tomorrow afternoon, but we always go live every Wednesday afternoon. But we'll go live tomorrow and then we'll go live again on Wednesday after the sneak peek to give you a wrap up. So stay tuned with us for the next couple of days so that you can take advantage of all of our tips on how you can network more stress free like we do in our down and dirty networking community. Okay, if you've missed anything from our past videos, you can always watch on replay on our Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube channels. And stay tuned for all the other tips and videos that are available on our channel to help you be the most effective networker, regardless of whether you're doing relational networking or if you're doing relational networking mindset in the traditional space. We've got tips there for you as well. All right, guys, thanks so much. And thank you so much. If you want to connect with Ann, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to hook you up. And thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you for watching Networker. And until tomorrow, happy networking.